According to reports, T.I. is going crazy after Boosie released a fresh video of King Harris, igniting an online frenzy. The explosive content is causing fans to react, and everyone is talking about T.I.'s answer. Let's examine exactly what Boosie revealed, T.I.'s response, and the controversy surrounding King Harris that is causing a stir online. Rapper T.I. and Escape vocalist Tamika "Tiny" Harris are the parents of King Harris, who was born Clifford Joseph Harris III. Of the 3 biological children of T and Tiny, King is the eldest. In addition, the Grand Hustle head has 2 older sons and a daughter from other relationships. They're a blended family with 7 children overall because Tiny is the mother of an older girl from a previous relationship. For years, television has chronicled their family life. On their reality show, T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, their houses and way of life were extensively chronicled. Friends and Family Hustle, T and Tiny. Since he was a young child, King Harris has been in the public glare. Growing up on reality TV, millions of people watched, discussed, and analyzed every stage of his life. In 2020, Harris started performing under the artist name Kidden. With his first tracks, Bout and Bad Intentions, he experimented with melodic hip-hop and trap music. With the release of the EP A Thin Line Between a King and Aplia in 2021, he was obviously attempting to carve out a niche for himself in the music business, away from his father's shadow. Harris made appearances in different media after becoming well-known due to his family's television popularity. He appeared as a guest on the 2021 edition of the competitive series Wash Wars and joined the improv comedy series Wild and Out. He appeared as himself on Dish Nation in 2023. But this is when things start to get interesting. Over the past year or so, King Harris has been the target of numerous rumors. On social media, a number of videos and accusations have appeared that purport to show King in circumstances that imply he might be in a same-sex relationship. These videos have gone viral on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Internet culture, where videos are captured, replayed, modified, and shared millions of times across platforms, has fueled the discussion about King's private life. People have been chatting, and the discussions have progressed to the point that Boosie and T have been brought up. Let's be clear about this now. King Harris recently had to deal with accusations that he was not the father of his newborn kid and that his father, T, had expelled him. That is the extent of the gossip that has been circulating about this young man. The 20-year-old has been the subject of a lot of rumors lately. Furthermore, as you're aware, the internet does not differentiate between verified information and conjecture. As soon as something becomes popular, it is taken for granted. A storm has been created by the footage that has been making the rounds online, the clips that people are linking to King Harris, and the commentary from people like Boosie. Boosie Badazz's involvement in this incident is further complicated by the fact that he has a lengthy history of publicly discussing LGBTQ issues. Boosie is known for his criticism on these kinds of topics, and he doesn't hold back when expressing his ideas. Boosie has made controversy a part of his public identity, whether it's his anti-trans tirade about Zia, the 12-year-old daughter of Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, or his threats against Lil Nas X. Because Boy has established a reputation for being outspoken about these issues, any claim pertaining to someone else's sexual orientation that bears Boo's name carries some weight in the public conversation. Not because the assertions are necessarily credible. Because of his reputation, people click, share, and respond when they see his name next to a headline like this. For his part, King Harris has been outspoken about putting an end to the rumors. During a recent live stream with partner Janja Nana Epps and their infant boy, King put an end to the rumors. King claims that whatever the world says about him is untrue. He didn't hold back when speaking. He held his infant during that live video with his child's mother and informed the internet that nothing they were saying was accurate. It's also noteworthy that King Harris and his girlfriend talked about how much the young child looks like his father's mother and grandmother during their most recent live stream. This was obviously a direct reaction to the various rumors that had been circulating, such as the assertions regarding his personal life and the paternity rumors. With that live webcast, King was making a statement. As T held his grandson in a cute video, he was saying, "Look at my family. Look at my son. Everything you were saying about me is false. T refers to the infant as the greatest mobster in the world, despite the fact that he goes by numerous names, including Lil Jack Jack. Therefore, regardless of what the internet was saying, T was obviously supporting his son and his grandchild. You must comprehend T and Boosie Badazz's past in order to comprehend the significance of Boosie's name being associated with this King Harris scenario. The connection between these two rappers is complex and has undergone several stages: friendship, cooperation, conflict, reconciliation, and conflict once more. While rivalries and feuds are common in the hip-hop business, T.I. and Boosie's continuing rivalry has been dramatic and fierce. On social media, the two rappers have been making threats and insulting each other. Their supporters have been participating in the discussion and taking sides in the interim. Let's begin at the beginning. Southern rap artists T.I. and Boosie both gained notoriety in the 2000s. Boosie is from Baton Rouge and T is from Atlanta. In the realm of hip-hop, they held comparable positions. They also respected one another for a while. They even had plans to put out a collaborative record. They were that close. They were in the studio together at one point, making music and organizing a project that people were looking forward to. But after that, things didn't go well. Boosie said that T.I. had turned on his deceased cousin Toot. The allegations came to light after he discussed a 2000 event that resulted in a firearm charge in a 2020 episode of his Expediously show. On his own podcast, T.I. recounted how his attorney had promised to drop all charges if he put a weapon allegation on his cousin Toot, who had been killed during the trial. If he pinned the weapon on Toot, who was killed during the trial, his attorney promised to make everything go away. Replied, "I'll take all the charges you've got if you can walk away free and put it on me." Goddamn right. Because I'll be damned if they are going to come and extradite me from here, stated T. Now, Boosie did not take this lightly when he learned about it. The argument between the two began in February when Boosie Badazz called T a rat for acknowledging that he had once pinned a gun case to his deceased relative in order to avoid going to jail. Boosie expressed his emotions on Vlad TV. In a recent appearance with Vlad TV, Boosie reportedly made the decision to attack T.I. and call him a rat. When Vlad questioned Boosie about the collaborative album, Boosie's response was unambiguous. Boosie stated that he doesn't want to release music with someone he refers to as a rat when Vlad questioned him about the album that he and T recorded together. Consequently, the project has been cancelled. "No, that album is not coming out because it ruined everything," he replied. T would have none of it. The back and forth intensified after he publicly answered. On Instagram, Boosie referred to T as a snitch. T.I.'s prior legal issues, including a conviction for federal weapons charges, were the subject of the remark. The comment infuriated T, who declared that he would defend his family at any cost and that he was not frightened of Boosie. The beef kept growing. T and Boosie's conflict was getting worse. In his diss single FS Boosie, which was released in March 2022, T.I. criticized Boosie for treating him and his family disrespectfully. In response, Boosie released a diss tune in which he accused T.I. of being dishonest and failing to uphold his own values. It continued. T and Boosie's conflict persisted until May 2022. T is a Snitch is another diss track that Boosie released. In a prior court case, Boosie accused T of collaborating with the police. In response, T labeled Boosie a liar and posted a number of videos on social media to refute the accusations. The problem with T and Boosie, though, is this. They eventually managed to have a conversation despite all the public back and forth. Many people assumed that Tip and Boosie had reconciled after a picture of them appeared on social media on Sunday, April 9th. According to T, who spoke with TMZ, there is no animosity between the two, and the whole thing was caused by a miscommunication. First of all, it isn't any beef. We're grown men. Our sons are still very close to each other. There is no beef, T told TMZ directly. It's a misunderstanding. Someone misspoke, and I think someone has come to terms with that understanding, and it'll be handled offline. It's no beef. And it wasn't just T saying this. Boosie Badazz has revealed that he apologized to T.I., as the two rappers have put an end to their brief feud. The legendary Baton Rouge artist returned to Vlad TV on Thursday night, April 27th, for another explosive interview in which he explained that the two handled the altercation like bosses. I gave him an apology because after we kept going back and forth for the things he was doing for me in my life at the time, I kind of felt bad, Boosie recalled following a phone call. He was really assisting me in many ways. This is where the relationship between T.I. Boosie and King Harris comes into direct contact. King Harris and Boosie's son, Tootie Raw, are close. They hang around and compose music together. And in September 2024, a video that went viral and put both families back in the news showed the veteran rappers questioning why their mini-amias were allegedly using real guns as props for their music videos. The Shade Room was able to obtain and share the trending video, which starts with Tip raising his voice in front of a crowd while King Harris and Tootie Raw are filming a music video together with extras when their fathers approach. "Why do you all always have to have guns?" Boosie asked, advising them to think about creating music about something else. At the time, King argued that it wasn't against the law, but the two fathers didn't care and pointed out the kind of lifestyle they were encouraging, whether on purpose or not. T wasn't holding back and was heard asking, "What is it with the weapons, son?" as extras stood by, witnessing him deliver an anti-crime speech to the aspiring hip-hop artists. King's defense included him stating, "It's not illegal to have guns." "Well, in the way you portray this lifestyle, this doesn't look legitimate, sir," T retorted. Boosie chimed in to say that he was unable to support that image, too. T then said something that hit home for a lot of parents watching. T lamented, "This seat isn't free. There will be a fee for this seat. Man, these seats are great. Why don't you all create some music about Mother King love? There are girls out here. Man, why don't you discuss being in love?" Boosie and T are both familiar with the experience of being charged with a firearm. Boosie and T.I.'s responses appear to stem from their respective legal issues with firearms. In 2009, T was sentenced to a year in prison for gun-related offenses after completing 1,000 community service hours and traveling the nation to raise awareness of the risks associated with drugs, firearms, and gangs. In July, Boosie spoke out following his second indictment on gun charges. King Harris later addressed the situation, saying, "I'm not that guy. I'm for entertainment purposes only." He clarified that the gun-toting persona was only for the music videos and did not represent who he is. The 20-year-old, who has publicly denied having a privileged upbringing, now wants everyone to know that he has been using the act to gain attention. However, the internet was far from finished with King Harris. A few weeks later, in October 2024, he was taken into custody in Dunwoody, Georgia, after being stopped while driving a BMW. According to the police, Harris almost collided with a patrol car as he was leaving a petrol station. They also reported that they smelt marijuana and discovered Harris carrying a gun on his hip, which was removed without any problems. His warrant is related to an August 2022 incident in which he was charged with speeding, knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended license, and driving under the influence of drugs. This was just a few weeks after King told the world he was only doing this for entertainment, and now he was being arrested with a gun on his hip after almost hitting a police car. This was not the first time King's actions made headlines. In November 2023, Harris got into a widely reported argument with his acclaim that Tiny Harris and Tama disputed in real time. Prior to that, in September 2022, Harris was involved in a verbal altercation at an Atlanta Waffle House that gained public attention after a video of the incident appeared online. His parents later publicly addressed the incident, defending their son while acknowledging the difficulties of growing up in the spotlight. So, you have a young man who has been publicly fighting with his parents, getting arrested, waving guns in music videos, and arguing with strangers at waffle houses. In addition to all of these viral videos and rumors about his personal life. While all of this has been going on with King Harris, Badazz has been in the news for other reasons. He has been commenting on the beef between 50 Cent and Lil Meech, and that has put him in a position where he is publicly commenting on other people's family dynamics, which is relevant to why his involvement in the King Harris situation matters. In an interview with Vlad TV, Boosie discussed the drama and responded to Meech's recent text message to 50 Cent, which the G-Unit boss posted. The Baton Rouge rapper added of Meech's text, "I didn't like his reaction, but it sounds like he received true love for 50. However, Boosie didn't merely provide a considered opinion. He also disclosed what his own response would have been, Enga__you. That's my father. __you, Enga. Boosie continued, let's go to war. 50 Cent then directly addressed Boosie's remarks in an Instagram post, revealing the source of Boosie's grievance with the actor. I did more for Mimi than anyone in his life, Boosie. That's why he responded like that. More recently, the 50 Cent T.I. dynamic has added another layer to all of this. Look at the web of connections here. Boosie and T.I. have their own beef history, and 50 Cent and T.I. are currently engaged in an online feud that has included T.I.'s wife, Tiny Harris. The Atlanta rapper has now released several diss tracks, including this one, and 50 Cent is reportedly producing a documentary about T.I. and Tiny Harris. T.I. is providing some clarity to those who may still be confused amid ongoing coverage of what he described as his recent kerfuffle with Boosie Badazz. Meanwhile, 50 Cent has entered the conversation with an edited joke video on Instagram. Boosie is weighing in on 50 Cent's beefs, and now Boosie's name is attached to the King Harris situation. Everyone is connected in this web of hip-hop drama, and each new development feeds into the next. As the son of one of the most well-known figures in Southern rap, King Harris is caught in the middle of all of this. The fact that Boosie is purportedly connected to these King Harris clips is noteworthy because Boosie has publicly and repeatedly expressed his opinions on homosexuality and has been criticized for them. Tootie Raw, Boosie's son, and King Harris are close friends and collaborators. These are not two families that live in different worlds. T himself stated, "Our sons still are very close to each other." He has had a direct and complex relationship with T.I. for years, so his involvement, whether real or perceived, adds fuel to an already burning fire. They are entangled. As we witnessed with the gun video, their children get into trouble together, hang out together, and create music. The boys are therefore necessarily impacted by any conflict between the fathers, and the fathers are inevitably brought up in discussions about the sons. Not to mention that T.I. has a history of protecting his kids in ways that have caused controversy. In complete shock, Boosie chastised T for taking his daughter to a gynecologist to see if her hymen was still intact. Boosie was horrified and said that T should respect his daughter's privacy since he was being too intrusive and domineering. Even prior to the accusations of snitching, that was one of the initial points of contention between T and Boosie. One of the things that first caused tension between them was Boosie criticizing T for his parenting decisions. What is the current situation after all of this? Let's examine the statements made by King Harris, the actions taken by T.I., and the information provided. On several occasions, King Harris has spoken directly to the rumors. During a recent live stream with partner Janja Nana Epps and their infant boy, King put an end to the rumors. King claims that whatever the world says about him is untrue. He said he didn't think anyone could be so foolish as to believe rumors on the internet. He did more than simply refute the rumors. He denounced those who were disseminating them. He claimed that because the persons making these accusations don't have any money worth chasing, he couldn't even file a lawsuit. It was obvious that the live stream featuring his fiancée and infant was intended to be a direct refutation. Here, a man displays his family to the public along with his spouse and child, denying the rumors. King Harris and his girlfriend talked about how much the young child looks like his father's mother and grandmother during their most recent live stream. Before making a joke, EP said, "They all got the same face. They simply had different hairstyles." As a grandfather, T has been present. In a cute video, T held his grandson. T refers to the infant as the greatest mobster in the world, despite the fact that he goes by numerous names, including Lil Jack Jack. Neither his son nor his grandchild is being cut off from him. His acceptance of his duty as a grandfather says a lot about his position on the subject. Now, T has always dealt with family-related issues. T did not hold back when Charleston White made remarks about King. When the younger Harris responded to White's remarks, his father, T, took notice and chastised the Texas native for disparaging his son. "I won't cut corners when discussing mine with you. Give a ___ concerning the absence of cops. The Pardon rapper cautioned on an Instagram live, "I'll do all my time, not up. My family members are prepared to put their freedom and lives in danger for my sake. Nick, never ___ play with my ___ child. When someone comes for his children, that's T. He's not a player. He doesn't hesitate. He states unequivocally that his family is not allowed." What about Boosie and T.I.'s relationship in 2024 and beyond, though? They handled the gun video scenario by co-parenting. They told their sons to quit encouraging violence in their songs while standing side by side. The fathers were praised by many for inspecting their sons' props for the music video. Both of them were commended by fans for being responsible parents who set aside their disagreements to mentor their kids. On the YouTube series Me and Halo, T even discussed King's persona. Regarding King, T stated, "He's really the personality that he has assumed for himself, and all in all, it's really just a personality because he's not out there selling no dope and committing crimes." T knows his son. He knows that King puts on a persona for the internet and for his music, and he has publicly stated that it is just that, a persona. In the midst of all of this, King Harris is a 20-year-old man attempting to pursue a music career, raise his son, and deal with public scrutiny that most people will never encounter. The Boosie element adds drama because of who Boosie is and what he represents in these conversations, his history of making comments on LGBTQ issues, his past beef with T, and his relationship with King through their son's friendship. All of which create a web of connections that makes any story involving the three of. However, the facts are what they are. King Harris has refuted the rumors. His girlfriend has stood by him. T has embraced his grandson, and Boosie, as always, is a lightning rod for controversy. In hip-hop, narratives are constructed based on conjecture, social media clips, and public reactions, whether it involves his own beefs or the beefs of those around him. We know that King Harris is a young man in the public eye who has experienced his fair share of hardships, including arguments with his parents at football games, gun-related arrests, and paternity rumors. However, these new allegations about his personal life have added another chapter to an already convoluted story. T.I. has demonstrated that he is willing to stand up for his son against Charleston White, internet trolls, and anyone else, as well as that he is willing to correct his son when he believes King is heading in the wrong direction, as he did with the gun video. Protective, but also corrective. And Boosie will continue to be Boosie. He will continue to give interviews, express his opinions, and find himself in the middle of controversies because that is who he is and what he does. Each viewer will have to assess for themselves based on the evidence at hand. Whether he actually leaked or commented on any particular footage of King Harris, or whether his name was merely attached to the narrative because of his reputation and his connection to the family. In the age of social media, where every video can go viral and every rumor can become a headline, it is evident that the intersection of T.I., Boosie, and King Harris creates a story that touches on fatherhood, hip-hop culture, internet rumors, family loyalty, and the complex dynamics of growing up as the child of a famous rapper. The people at the center of these stories must navigate a landscape that is frequently unfair, frequently inaccurate, and always relentless. T has experienced enough in his personal and professional life to understand what it means to be a public figure at the age of 20. At the end of the day, this story is about more than just clips and claims. It is about the reality of growing up in the spotlight. King Harris has refuted the allegations, stood by his family, and continued to advance his music career. T has stood by his son and his grandson, and the relationship between T and Boosie, though complex, has survived worse than internet rumors. Every day, King Harris must deal with the pressure to live up to a well-known last name, and the way hip-hop culture both uplifts and depresses individuals. And the next phase of his life will depend on how he responds to this.